Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Ralston Speaks. We covered a lot of ground in the last video, and I'm sure that many of you were left thinking, well, what's the medication? What's the cure to the symptoms that we've been suffering for the last 400 years? We're going to get to that in a moment. But first, I would like to say to my brothers and sisters out there, we have to use the system and the laws that are in place now to our advantage. Now, some of you might disagree with this, but give me a moment to explain. Our oppressors have been using the system, the laws, against us to our advantage. They might circumvent some, twist some up a little bit, but they are using their own laws against us. Why not use the laws that they put in place against them? Murder, second-degree murder, we've resorted to those laws, but there are quite a few others that we can implement. Hate crimes and defamation of character, many laws that we can use against them to our advantage. And the main law that we can use against them is to vote. Donald Trump, Hitler Trump, should never have been voted into office. There are more of us that are voting age, and as long as we register to vote, there are more of us than of the factions that agree with his policies. He never should have been voted into office. Never. So we all have to vote. We have to use the system that they have in place, which is actually also ours, and I'll get to that in a moment, in our favor. Some people have said that we need to change the Constitution. This is what I was referring to when I said, wait a minute, let me explain. The Constitution is actually a very good writ. It covers all bases. It's almost a perfect form of governing ourselves for checks and balances. Why is it almost perfect? Because the white man implemented it to protect themselves. Do you not think that a white man is going to, knowing that he is oppressed, to prevent himself from oppression and to prevent it, for these situations to never happen to him again, to set a system of checks and balances in place so that he's protected? Well, then I guarantee you that's something that, if it was followed to the letter, would benefit mankind in general. So I don't believe that Hitler Trump has the ability to orchestrate any of these events that are unfolding today. His hatred and his bigotry has fueled the events, but whoever is pulling his strings, whether it be Satan, Illuminati, some people have said, whoever it may be, whatever entity it might be, Donald Trump does not have the sense to plan any of this before he came into office. Now, many of us have watched Trump in his photo opportunity lifting the Bible, and some people say that that is the exact way that Hitler raised the Bible in the middle of the Reich. Well, be that as it may, that's a fact or imagination. That's a situation that only Trump knows. But what we all do know is that none of his behavior, or anyone, for that matter, affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation, any white supremacist group, and many of the policies that Congress has implemented against women, minorities, the inner cities, none of that behavior is of God. And he will pay for his behavior, and so will all of them in this life or the next. We have many white supporters all over the world that are supporting our movement, as you will, if you will, our cause, our plight. And to all of them, we thank you. Now, there are also quite a few Caucasian supporters in our own country, and to them, I would like to say thank you as well. However, unless you have been living under a rock, this is not something that's just, this sort of behavior and treatment did not pop up yesterday. This is something that you have been watching as you grew up into your adulthood. Your parents were watching grew up watching, and in their adulthood. You knew this situation was going on, yet you did nothing, you lifted no finger, and you raised no voice. Why? Because I believe that not only were you aware of the situation, but since you were benefiting from the practices of oppression, then you weren't going to say anything because you were benefiting from the very oppression that kept us down and yourselves elevated. But be that as it may, it's time to put all our words into action. Now, we touched on fear a couple videos back, and I asked, why does, now I'm not going to say white men, white people in general, because it's not all of you, but there are many that fear the black man. I know you don't fear the black women because you've been raping them since we were first forced onto these shores. So, the black man, why do you fear him so much? Well, I have an answer for that question. It's because if once we are allowed to be included in anything that you held as something that only you thought you could do, Jackie Robinson, Jesse Owens, Tiger Woods, Serena and Venus Williams, we not only matched your abilities, but we surpassed them greatly. Now, what would happen if we were included fairly into everything that as yet you have monopolized? Well, I'll tell you. We will become first and you will become last. Why would that frighten you so much? Do you think that we would not forget 400 years of slavery and oppression and take you into bondage? Have your women breastfeed our children? No. It's a pride thing. It's a pride thing to have someone who you look down upon as an animal, as a servant, or as a substandard human being outshine you. Really, it's time to get over this. It's time. We've already had our first African American president. We should have had our first female president. We should have had our first Latino president. We should have had many things that other countries have had to include all the races that have benefited in the building of this country. When you say go back to Africa, well, really, that's a ridiculous statement, because this is our country, because like it or not, we built this country. America would not be the superpower, the greatest nation on earth, if it had not been for 300 years of free labor to bolster the economy, to let it grow to what it is today. Let there be no doubt about that. So, stop being afraid. Embrace this, because we are here to stay. We will excel. We will outshine, and we will show you how to properly treat people. We will show you a system of democracy that is what it was meant to be, because we are the kings and queens of the civilization. Believe that or not, but that has been proven. So, my answer to the medication of the symptoms that this country is diagnosed with is we are going to display dignified conduct. The world, the country, each state in this union has our attention, my brothers and sisters. Let us show them that we are the kings and the queens we claim to be and are. I call out the rappers, the African American celebrities to show us less of the money that you have to spend and more of the sense of community and love for your people that you have to give. Ladies and gentlemen, the stage is ours. The world is listening. It is our time. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Ralston.